Hi, I'm Christopher Moss and welcome to the 7th video in learning Symfony 2. In this video we're going to be looking at choice fields, which is basically just single choice, multiple choice and the entity field type. This video is going to be a lot quicker than the previous ones, as hopefully I'm a little bit better prepared. Also, thanks a lot for all your feedback on the videos that I've released so far. When I released them originally I did them all in one batch and I've not really been able to catch up doing any more since, so sorry for the delay, but as the big bit of work that I was just working on is finished, I should be able to do a few more. If there's anything else that you actually want to see, please leave a comment. I know many people have. It's very useful on knowing what to cover next. There's a REST one coming up shortly as well, and sorry if any of my pronunciations are wrong, but that's just the way it is and I'm probably not going to change them. So right, anyway, today, as I say, we're going to be looking at choice field types. If you're not sure what they are, let's just quickly jump onto Symfony and have a quick look at what I mean. So we're in the documentation and then reference, is it reference? Yes. Form field types, and we're looking at these ones, specifically the choice and the entity. Now, to begin with, we're just going to be looking at the array type, so effectively just the choice type. This is the most simple one. The problem with this is, well, not problem as such, but the way that the data is stored is typically in an array, which may not be useful enough for you, but we'll cover what it does and how it works and so on. Right, so in the previous videos that I've been doing, I've been writing the code as we go, but this time I've done all the code in advance. So just to talk you through what we've got a basic template, and it is really basic. It's just dumping out the form. If you want to render the form out, see the other previous videos, as it just overcomplicates things if you're seeing loads of CSS and stuff like that. What else have we got? We've got a basic controller which has got a root set up, so it's /form/array choice. What else have we got? So we're just creating a basic form. Let's have a look at that form. We've just got our choices on there. It's just a basic array. Now you need the choice field. That's the field type from Symfony, and then inside that takes a choices like a property, which also contains an array. Your array can be anything. In this case I've just got colors and I've added the submit button. Data class of color, we'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll have a look at it now, why not? So yeah, we've just got a basic entity set up with an ID and our favorite color and a setter and a getter. I think that's also in the database. Yeah, that's probably wrong though at the moment. Yeah, well, you'll see why as we go along. Anyway, so yeah, this is the array choice setup. Let's have a quick look at what happens if we go there now. Right, so it's just dumping out the form. We've got our different options, not sorted. They just come as they are as we've set them. And then if we hit save, we can see that we get a dump out of our class color, which at the moment doesn't have an ID, and then it's got a favorite color of 1, which was the 0, 1, 2, 3. So you can see there blue comes back as 1. So that's where we're at with that. Now the problem is there, let me see, array choice part 2 multiple. Okay, so saving that off, got our integer back. I think that's right. Handle request. Let's just see what's going on here. It's about 2 hours ago since I set this up, so should have revisited it. Yeah, and then if the form is valid, that's why we're getting the dump out. So effectively what we're doing is we're just creating a basic form which is already pre-populated. This is doing nothing at the moment, but we could just set this to null. It'll do the same thing. Effectively, let's just see. Yeah, let's go on. No. Yeah, because what that would be doing is putting some data into this form. So yeah, in Symfony, basically you create the form, you tell it the type of form you're creating, and then you tell it the type of, well, you give it some data or not. If you pass in null, the form doesn't get populated, or you can pass in something to populate the form with. In this case, we're just populating it with an empty object anyway, so it comes back as just default. But we can, well, we should be able to do this. My color, set fave color, and now if we give it a number and refresh, you can see that it's now taken position 4 in the array. So yeah, black, position 4, not that. So yeah, effectively what you would do if this was a form that you were using in a live project is you would, when you repopulate the object, when you like rehydrate it from the database or whatever, because you're repopulating the fields and then that object gets passed on to the form type, that's where the data comes from. So yeah, when I first started out, I was like, I didn't really get how that worked, and I'd be doing this. You can do, I think it's the data or empty data. I was like really confused. I think that might work. Let's just try that. Get rid of that. Might need to just refresh. No, that's not taking it. I wonder if it's an array. Let's just see. I don't know. It might not be empty data. Empty value. Data. It's just data. It might not be an array. Let's just try. I don't think it's an array. Yeah. So what that's doing there is that's setting the data on the object, effectively the same thing as that, where you're passing in the data to populate the form. Here you're passing in that you're actually like overwriting it on the field type. So you're saying in this case the data will always be 3, and it causes like a few knock-on problems, that because this can sort of overwrite what you're putting in, and it's just messy. And anyway, I never really used that, but when I first started out, that confused me as to where that data was coming from. And really, the thing to take away is that it just comes from the object that you're passing onto the form, which it's kind of a weird, confusing thing, that. So yeah, hopefully that explains it. If not, leave a comment or something, and I'll try and explain it a bit better. Right. So next part is if we want to go to do multiple choice. We don't want to check that out. Don't force check out, whatever. So what have we got this time? Let's just get rid of that for now. Okay, so this time in our color entity, we've changed from, previously it was saving up as a string, I think. Let's just check that back out. Oh, I should not have made that change. Force the checkout. Yeah, so previously when we would save this off, we probably would have saved it off as a string. Now instead we're going to save it off as an array. We didn't really cover that, so don't worry about that too much. Yeah, let's just change that up. And then, so this time we can have multiple choices being set, because previously it was all set to 1. So we just added a few extra fields in to override the defaults, which are both false for these. So multiple and expanded, and we'll probably just have to give this a quick upload. We might even need to do that. Very good. Let's try again. And then this time you can see that there's it's come out as multiple choice, and again, the reason being that those options are populated is because I set the favorite colors there. So if you look, color is an array. You set it's just a setter, basic setter, and then I've set in an array of options. And again, you could do this on the object, on the this bit here. You could do it like that. Data array 0 and 1. Let's just see which one takes priority. Yeah, you see, so like the data you're actually passing in the controller there is getting overwritten if you use this data inside the form type. So yeah, stay away from that. But it was confusing when I started out, so that's why I'm just explaining that. The other thing that I want to explain here is that we could technically overwrite those choices here. We could get rid of this and say choices, and then we could do choices. Help if I set that up in advance, but so now what we could do is we could pass in an array instead, which is here, and then we can override basically the options in that array. Let's just give that a shot. So we've changed the foot, but you can see that because I hadn't done anything with the values, literally just new values are getting overwritten there. So something to be aware of if you're going to dynamically populate your choices. Obviously just be aware that the mappings need to be correct, which is why another reason really that I don't use the array choice, just the basic choice type too frequently. Let's just, did I save that off? Just so show you what happens. So just return an array. Okay, but that's, as I say, it's not really, I don't really use it too much. Instead, I would tend to use the entity choice type. Let's just do a force check out there. Okay, so moving on. That was covering the, what's that one called? Choices. Now we're talking about entity. Now this again was something that completely blew my mind the first time I really came across it. Well, not blew my mind as such, but you know, it confused me. I spent a good while looking into what the hell was actually happening. It all looks pretty similar. This was the problem that I came across to begin with. Let's just do that. I might need to upload it first. Let's try again. Yeah, very good. Right, so yeah, this was the first problem that I came across. Now I've not really created anything. Let's just, how can I explain this? Get rid of that. Got a new route, by the way, form entity choice. We're just going to entity choices array controller. Get rid of that. Entity choice, same thing, very basic. Just so that you're aware of what's happening now. Okay, so the problem that I came across was if we take a look at this now. Yeah. Okay, first thing, there's nothing in the array. I'll explain why. Not array, sorry, you know what I mean. Where are we? Default controller, entity choice type. Okay, so in this form, instead of getting the data from an array, we're actually going to do a query to get that data. Now we're doing the most basic query that we can do here, which is just the entity field type. It takes a class different to a CSS class, and then a property. Now the class is literally the entity name that we're looking at. It can be a full path like slash like that, if you wish, but whatever, I don't wish that to be. And then we're looking for a property to display as a string in. So effectively, when you load this list, you need something here to be human readable. You can have that be whatever you want it to be. It's just got to be a property, an available property, and I think it's got to have a getter and a setter set on it by default to make that work. Anyway, this will just pull out everything as is. So it's alright in some cases and not so great in other cases. We'll come to sorting that out in a moment. Got the favourite colour. So yeah, it's just that field. It's just a string. At the moment, the reason it's empty is because this is empty. So I'll just add in a few colours. Red, yellow, brown, orange, indigo. What the hell, why not? Save that off, and if we refresh, you can see that we've just got our list straight from the database as is. Now if we save this though, you'll see that there's a bit of a weird thing goes on here. Okay, so we've got our colour, which has got our ID, and it also has a favorite color. Let's just have a quick look at this entity again. So it's a color entity, it's got an ID, it's also got a favorite color, which is a string. Yet our data, when we look at it, is actually returning us an object, another color object. So you've got like a color object inheriting a color object, which is rubbish. It's not what we want. And this one is actually populated though. So this was a bit of a weird thing for me. It's quite a straightforward and simple thing to fix when you think it through, but at the first time through, I couldn't get my head around what was going on. And effectively what is going on is, as I say, we've got an object, the same object, like trying to save into itself, but it can't ever really... how can I explain that? Well, you'll see the fix to it anyway. So that's the problem that we've got. And then if we go to this one, you can see now what I've done is I've added in a my choice entity as well. In fact, we'd best upload this whilst I'm talking. Give that a whack. So we've also added in a my choice, and we've added in a colour. I might just have overwritten that. No, good. So instead of trying to now save the colour into itself, we're going to save the colour into the choice, if that makes sense. So the choice will take the colour rather than a colour taking the colour. So the colours just become like a dumb list of options really, but not much else has changed. We're still getting that data out, but in our colour we've changed fave colour property to just be called name, and then we changed the getter and setter. And what else have we done? Instead of that, now we've got this my choice object which has got our favourite colour, and again that's just got the getters and the setters. So we've just sort of added an entity to help us out here. We'll just get rid of that for now. And then let's have a look at what we get instead. So now if we save off yellow, this is now a my choice object which takes a favorite color object as like a relation. So we can save that off much easier, and we can see, you know, if you was to save that off to the database, say you was going to repopulate, you would now go off and find color 4. Color 4 is orange, so we should expect to see orange load up. Let's just retry that. Yeah, so we're getting our color properly populated, and you can see in here effectively what it's doing is it's creating firstly it's creating a my choice object. If we go to the choice type, the form, this now takes a my choice object as its data type, data class. If we look at this one was taking a color, so it's like expecting a different object now. It's expecting a, oh, flipping heck, where have I gone? Yep, wrong one. It's expecting a my choice object. So remember, if we look at my choice, it's got a favorite color. A favorite color is an object. Now we've not set up a relation here because we're not saving off the data, and I'm just trying not to make this confusing. It's probably not really helping, but anyway, yeah. So we create our my choice. Like before, we would just create the color. Then we do a database lookup here. So we look into our database, into the colors table via the color entity, and we find for, if this is confusing to you, by the way, look at the doctrine video I did. So we retrieve object 4 from our colors table, which is orange, and then on our my choice object we set our favorite color to this, and this is literally a color entity. So we're just setting that, and then when we save off, that's why you see that. Yeah, that's why that's working now. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, like, try it yourself, and hopefully it will make a little bit more sense. I'm hoping this is helpful, as I'm thinking in my head it's quite confusing. But yeah, that's the gist of it, I guess. Anyway, let's have a look at this one. What have we got in here? So yeah, in this time instead, previously, if you looked, it was just coming out sort of any old order, but maybe you'd want to give it some order. Instead now we're going to sort it. So we're using the same properties as before. We've still got our class. We still need to have a property. Now you can get around that if you go to the color entity and you add in a, we'll do this in a sec. ToString, and then return this get name. So if we put that in, let's just get rid of that for now. Refresh. Let's load him. Is this all updated? Let's just double check that. Yeah, so we're still loading, but to prove that we need that, I'm just going to get rid. Save. See, it says basically we need to have that property path set, or we can use the toString method. If we go and put that in there. So you can see there, and we could do weird stuff there like this, get ID, this, I don't know, could do something like that, should you be so inclined. We'll leave that in for now just to prove a point that it works. And then we get this query builder, and this wants to order by name, so you can see that it is working. I think that was descending, yellow, red, or yeah. So it's we can change stuff up. You can look into the query builder, see how it's content, but yeah, just swap stuff around. So that's if you want to be a little bit more, I don't know, fiddly with what you've got. And then lastly, I'm just going to show you the last thing. Okay, so instead, in a similar way to when we were passing stuff into the array, now we're going to pass stuff into our entity choice type. We're just passing in a number, which is an ID, which is just our variable, sticking that into here, common stuff there, and then we're putting that variable, that private variable, into this variable inside this function or method. And then inside here, we're doing slightly more advanced because we want to be able to use that thing that we've passed in to modify the query in some way. So what I'm saying here is pass in the number 3 and then blah blah blah, put it into here, do a function which uses that number 3, and we're going to create a query builder. We'll just call it C. This is not so good, honestly. This should just be called color. You don't have to give it a full name because obviously it's like brevity or whatever, but that's effectively what you're saying. You'll often see when people use this, they just use one letter or a very short identifier, which is kind of bad practice, I guess, but it's sort of common. And then we're ordering it by the name, but we're going descending, and it has to be something where the color ID is greater than or equal to a modifier, which in our case is 3. So looking at the database, we should get brown, orange, and indigo. And then also we're setting a parameter there, we pass that in, but you don't want to just do it like, oh, you know what I mean. You don't want to do it like that. You want to do it properly. Let's put that back. Set parameter, blah blah blah. Give that an upload. This was supposed to be a quicker video, 23 minutes, unbelievable. And so that's it. You got the 3 options returned. So hopefully that makes a bit more sense. I'll just quickly cover back over this, because I don't think I really covered it thoroughly enough, I guess. So yeah, what we're doing with the entity type, and this rolls on into the collection type, which I'll cover in the next video, but we need to create an empty object which then helps populate that form type. All that we're really doing here is having to set the, I'm still not explaining this as well as I would like. Let's have a look in here. And if we do, I thought we'd change that up. I must not have saved it. So you could do here as like multiple true, expanded, true. See where we get with that. So we got our 4 and we saved that off. And then each one is, what that's passing back there is an array of objects. So we could do, let's see if we do my choice. Let's try that. Yeah, bugger. What are we getting there? That must be that. Oh right, yeah, because it's expecting, my mistake there, it's expecting a collection, and we was only passing it 1. Let's just see if this works. This may work, I don't know. Yikes. That's because it's find. Find one. Let's see, what could we do there? Find by. Let's see if that does it. No. Meh. Yeah, it's expecting a collection there, which is what I want to cover in the next video. It's probably confused you even more watching that. Useless. Sorry about that. So that's going to crash out, I guess. Well, at least you got to see some real world Symfony stuff, I guess. What was I trying to explain there? Yeah, my choice is basically all I'm trying to get across is that you create an object, and this object could be pulled out of the database via a query or whatever. In this case, all we're doing is creating an empty object first, then we're putting some data onto that empty object so the object is populated, then we're passing that in, which is passed on to the choice form type. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I've gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to there, but just trying to explain what I found to be quite a complicated piece to the puzzle when I was starting out. So I guess, yeah, hopefully that has been helpful to you. And I know on the Bootstrap video I like piss someone off by going on too long for what should be a relatively straightforward topic, but hopefully some people find the extended explanations a bit beneficial. Anyway, what was a 10-minute video has turned into half an hour, so I'm finishing here. Cheers for watching.